Europa is a casual indie adventure title that packs a pretty big emotional punch and one that really caught me by surprise. It's a game that can be completed in under 3 hours and is a casual title in every sense of the word. You are never in any real danger. The player controlled character Z cannot be killed, and while he is impacted by certain attacks and environmental obstacles, you will run into mines later on. He does not take any damage. He may stagger a bit and struggle to recover, but ultimately, he does bounce back and can do so fairly quickly. There is no time limit. You are free to explore areas as you see fit, and I recommend doing so because the environments found here are gorgeous and each area has a story to tell. For as short as this game is, I was pretty impressed by how the game scaled in regard to the complexity of its environments and the different puzzles. You are given a very simple move set, but one that is very complementary to exploration and very fun to use once you're able to chain abilities together. I would recommend not running, but rather jumping and gliding when you can. It's just way more fun to get around. Plus, it does give you a better view of the environment, which will assist you in finding collectibles and solving puzzles. It also looks really cool when you are speeding through an area, and because the game gives you this really simple move set, you will master it pretty quickly, and I am curious to see how speedruns of this game are going to go. The easiest way to gain speed is to just head downhill, power up your jump, glide, and then hit orbs that will keep your energy up so that you can continue gliding and floating moving forward. It's very entertaining to see how far you can get on one charge, and you will surprise yourself with the actual distance you can cover. You would think that in a game in which you're floating these long distances that you'll drop and decline pretty quickly, but you don't. You can go really far, and I think the game is very lenient when it comes to reaching a platform that may look out of reach. There were some moments where in any other game you would be forced to retry, but here the game provides a nice little boost, so you'll be able to make it to some of these platforms as long as you hold down the glide button and just keep pressing forward. I think that this is the true benefit to casual adventure games. You're never really stressed out or burnt out by the gameplay. Puzzles in this game are incredibly simplistic and should not require any assistance to complete. I don't think there was one in this game that made me stop and think about what I was doing. The game is constantly throwing hints at you, and because you are not punished for failing, you can really take your time. I would say around 90% of almost every major area found in this game ends in a puzzle, and I would say the most difficult ones, if I can describe them as that, have a really convenient way of completing them. Basically, you have these blocks, and then you're required to flip them into like open spaces to gather this essence or this energy, and then you want to do that continuously around this little small arena until you have all three, and that will unlock the door at the end. So you might find yourself getting stuck at some points, but all you have to do is just reset your positioning by falling into the chasm below you. The game is going to restart you at the beginning of the puzzle, but you're going to notice that your progress was saved. So it's a really easy and convenient way for you to complete these puzzles and not be stopped, because this is a casual game and one that is more about the journey and the overall adventure. If you're looking for a game to compare this to, look for Journey or Abzu. I think those are the probably best examples. Those are the types of games that really emphasize environmental storytelling and exploration over complex controls or complex gameplay. To me, what's most impressive about Europa is that going through the different stages, each area depicts a different scene. And as you're progressing through, you're going to find a new journal entry, and that's going to detail why Z is currently on his journey to the island that floats above you. It's really like the one big mystery. You'll learn that these journals were left behind by Adam, Z's creator, who had chronicled his time on Europa and his time with Z. At first, these journal entries were mostly informative, detailing the different projects, life forms, and activities on Europa, but as you progress through the game, they become more intimate and personal, and this is where the emotional heart of the narrative lies. Adam speaks softly in earlier entries and seems to be quite enthusiastic given the nature of his mission. This is a new planet, and he genuinely believes that his actions and activities and just the project itself is going to help humanity. That tone changes as more entries are uncovered, and it becomes clear that the more time spent on Europa and around other people cause him to become skeptical and wary, as if humanity is doomed to complete the same mistakes that they made in the past. Now, the narrative doesn't take any unexpected twists or turns. You're going to be able to guess the true relationship behind Z and Adam pretty quickly, but I believe the narration provided by the different journal entries are all well done and convincing. I honestly wasn't expecting any melancholy moments. The visuals pop off the screen, they're very bright and colorful, and it make it seem like time spent on Europa would be a dream, like this was some paradise, and somehow humanity came across it and this was going to be some type of perfect transition. But the more time you spend in these environments, you're going to notice that not everything was bright and cheery on this moon of Jupiter. And that's something I really appreciated, because while the planet is beautiful, it is clear that it was not devoid of conflict, and you can pretty much guess about who the actual culprits are. It's been told in a number of different sci-fi adventure games, it's been told in a number of sci-fi adventure stories, but I do think that what's here is really well done. So if I had a complaint about my time with Europa, it's that the game lacks any meaningful interactions with Z in the environment. For all the things that you're seeing and experiencing, for this grand adventure that you're going on with this character, I would have loved to have seen Z show some type of reaction to what he's seeing in the various environments, and to see his reactions to the different journal entries of Adam, because those two characters share a really special and personal connection. I do think that having those types of interactions would have created a bigger connection for the player in Z, especially when you start to near the end of the game and the entries become more personal and intimate. I think that Europa can come off as too straightforward at times, and I was kind of thinking that this would be like other indie adventure titles which feature interactive moments to allow the player to greater connect with the main character. I always think that when you have these opportunities to create meaningful connections and allow the player to kind of further empathize or sympathize with the character, you should always try to reach for those. And I thought that you'd have that present here, because these interactive moments are always found in like every adventure title out there, from Jasant to Journey, whatever, but it's absent here. And I really feel like that's like the only real fault of this game, because in my opinion, it's a largely missed opportunity, and it's my only real criticism of the game, because otherwise, Europa is really good. There are no major flaws to speak of. I really believe that everything works as intended. I didn't experience any major bugs or game-breaking glitches. I think the biggest draw to this game is probably going to be the production values. The visuals found in Europa are beautiful, and there are some truly picturesque moments that forced me to put my controller down and appreciate the art in front of me. The music does an excellent job of complementing the visuals, and I think the various cinematic sequences in the game are well done and give the player enough time to soak it all in. There are far too many adventure games that I've played that do not allow the player to just sit and enjoy what's in front of them, but Europa does an excellent job of letting the player reflect on what they just experienced, and that is something that I really appreciate. Even with its shorter than usual runtime, I do believe Europa is an easy recommendation. And not just for those of us who are fans of indie adventure titles, but I do believe that it's an easy recommendation for anyone. And that is going to do it for this video. If you happen to like the content, please consider like, sharing, and subscribing. If you happen to have played Europa and you want to share your experiences, please leave a comment in the comment section. I am Ken from Pixelated Thoughts, and I will talk to you next time.